Hello folks, it's your friendly neighborhood Dragon Overlord here, welcoming you to my lair. Today we're going to show you a little bit about Paladins. There will not be any gameplay, but today we're just going to go over the basics of the game and the champions. We'll start off here from the top left with Barrack. He is your turret guy. He'll set it up with various skills, as every hero or champion, as this game will call it, just like any other MOBA. They have their ultimate skills. Unlike LoL, they're not unlocked over time via levels. They're the only level system, as you see down here. This is my overall character level, and if we go back here, you can see his level. You level them up by various battles. It may seem like a large chunk of EXP, but it actually goes up pretty fast, with you easily able to get 50 to 100k EXP per match, depending on how well you do and if you win or lose. Because if you win, you tend to get more, somewhere around 10 to 15,000 thrown on top of your performance reward. This game has two currencies, as you'll see here. I would get 500 more gold once I hit level 5 in Barrack here. As you can see, I have 7,463 gold, and this bottom one here is the paid currency, which is the crystals, as this game calls it. This is purchasable, of course, with real money, varying from $4 or $5 actually, up to $90. Sorry, it just does not want to load. You can also pay $20 and get the Founders Pack with the Warhorse. There's two different mounts in the game. The Warhorse being the special one. The other one is just a basic brown horse, your typical horse. Ares Fernando, he is the tank. I'll be getting into him shortly. Instant beta access plus 2 keys for your friends, allowing more people to get into the beta. And 20 of these card chests, which, as you can see here, you can also buy for 50 crystals each, which you unlock these, and you get various cards and the potential to get weapons and such, what I'll be touching in a moment. But back to Barrack. Like I said, he is a dwarf, really muscular little guy with a rifle. It's slow firing but long range. He has two different turrets, one being his ultimate, the dome shield. It puts down a shield to reflect fire, as well as putting a flamethrower, which does quick burning damage to the enemy when they get close range. Rocket Boots is his debuff removal, which every champion has, as well as his normal attack being the rifle single shot, and he has a barricade. It provides cover, blocks the enemy fire. The enemies can move through this, unlike the shields on, say, Overwatch. The 30 seconds and such, that means how long in between usage. So you put down a turret, it takes 30 seconds. It actually takes a couple seconds for it to build as well. So you'd have to watch that. It's best to drop a barricade and then drop your turret for the enemies can't destroy it while it's building. As you can see, this game has a card system, kind of like Hearthstone of sorts, where you spend gold and you can unlock more cards. And with these cards, you build yourself a deck. You start with 3 pre-built decks of 12 cards here. And you choose one of these at the beginning of each battle, easily switch out. And you can also build 4 custom decks to, once you unlock more cards, and do better. The cards, however, as you can see here, it's like this one says number 1, this one says 4. They just go up to 4. Is you have to be at least that level, or they have to be unlocked, as these are not locked. Like this one is unlocked 2, and there's no time on it. They also have various other unlocks, such as skins. It's usually 2 or more. Since this is a closed beta, they just have various skins, things that make your character look prettier, just like LoL. Different weapon colors, and it potentially affects the weapon, the effect of the weapon when it fires as well. Some of these are, as you see, craftable. It says, the hammer here and the bag, meaning it's craftable and lootable. All of these are craftable and lootable. On to the next person. Sky, one of the prettier characters that you unlock with gold or crystals. Don't know too much about her, as I haven't unlocked her, as you saw. She is the one, she'll poison you. She's also a sniper. So she has damage over time for her ultimate, smoke screen to hide her, just like any good archer or assassin should have. Long range, over time damage with poison, and being able to hide. Next we have Cassie. She's another archer. She is to Sky as Yin is to Yang, essentially. She is the light archer with crowd control, and instead of poisoning you, she uses her bird to find you and blow you up. Long range sniping, just like any good sniper should. Continue on, we have Pip. He is your crowd control and one of the healers in the game. Kind of reminds me of Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy, except this guy is supposed to be a fox, I guess. He has one funny special. This is his ultimate, called Evil Mojo. Turns you into a weirdly shaped anamorphic chicken, where you can't do anything. You're a chicken. You run away and you flap your arms and squawk. Like I said, he's your healer. Can launch potions, and he'll heal his team. Definitely one of the things you need on your team. Grok. He is your second unlockable. He is another one of the characters that is a defense unit that will put down turret-like objects. So you see he's healing and deployables. His staff puts out an electric energy beam, which does quick damage to enemies, and he is actually pretty badass. He is one of the things you have to watch out for if you see him. And you see from his skills, he has Tempest, which is his ultimate, creating lightning storm around yourself, so around him, and it'll strike the enemies, which actually does a pretty good range. The healing totem, so he is essentially kind of like a shaman if you've ever played World of Warcraft. Ghost Walk, that's his debuff remover, as every champion has. It makes him untargetable, and he moves faster, so essentially if you see him do this, try and stay away from him. Like I said, lightning staff, and his chain lightning, which is the right mouse button. Weapon attacks, chain to nearby enemies, 35% damage for 5 seconds. Not fun when you're in a crowd and you're near this guy. To move on, our next person will be Evie. She is the third unlockable with gold or crystals. She's essentially a witch of sorts, as she will ride her staff. She's a pain as she can move around pretty fast, as well as crowd control you and keep you together and allow for her team to more easily destroy you. As you can see from her skill, she has Ice Storm. It'll slow you, cripple you, and damage you all at once. You'll see it. It's a big round thing that'll be on the map. The Blink, she teleports. This is the part that makes me think of her as a witch, as she can, your stereotypical witch, she hops on her staff and she rides it around like it's a magic broom. Her ice staff, block of ice. Basic. The ice block, this one, she becomes immune. She is inside the block of ice. You cannot damage her at all for 3 seconds. However, she cannot move or attack, which means once her 3 seconds off, unless she moves quickly, she's pretty fair game. Though a lot of users tend to do this one so she can get a little bit of healing, and maybe the enemies will stop attacking her, and then she'll pop Soar afterwards to quickly get away, or Blink. And our next person, Fernando. He is the main tank of the game. As you can see here, Immortal, that's his ultimate. Him and team members within 70 units of him cannot be lowered below 100 health. It's really good for capping areas. His shield, he blocks 5,000 damage, which is actually a pretty sizable chunk of damage in this game. So the enemy can more easily, his team can more easily cap the zone. Flame Lance, that is his normal attack. He cannot do shield and Flame Lance at the same time, but that is his close to mid-range attack of, it's basically, just a flamethrower that comes out of his weapon and burns you down pretty fast. Charge, that's his debuff removal, so you can get forward. It actually allows him to go forward pretty fast. His Fireball, that's his range attack. It shoots a condensed ball of flame at the enemy in a straight line, and I mean, it's a pretty good thing for slightly further away, but if you can get in there close, fire off a fireball, do a charge and then a shield to get real close, have your team behind you because it cannot be shot through. The enemy cannot shoot through it, so you can protect your team behind you, but they can shoot your team can shoot through it. So, get close with the shield, have your team members behind it, and toss a Flame Lance at them, and because it's a continuous attack. I mean, it's a 1-2 combo there. Buck. He is another healer of sorts, and also an unlockable. Just a giant guy with a giant gun. Imprisonment. This guy is perfectly paired up with players that run Fernando, as well as a couple others that we're going to be touching on shortly, as well as Barrick with his turret. But his imprisonment, which is his ultra, it reduces damage on him by 50% during it, as well as puts a ring of stone around it that you cannot get out unless you are able to leap over it, as a few can. He also can heal himself. His heroic leap, which allows him to jump up and forward. That's his debuff removal. Shrapnel cannon, net shot. That basically just what a net will do. It's a weighted net, shoots at the enemy, and it roots him for a single second, but that is enough to launch a couple shrapnel cannons or allow him to stay in place long enough so your snipers can do what they do. Snipe from a distance and reach out and touch that enemy till they are dead. Next, Ruckus. He is the mecha of sorts, except he, unlike Bastion from Overwatch, he rides it and controls it, but this is an actual computer and it will talk from time to time. So he's kind of like D.Va, but he does not get out of the mech when it's destroyed. He is one of your rapid fire damage dealers. He can shoot just one minigun, or he can shoot the minigun that's on. He has one on each arm. He can shoot them both at the same time, which will, of course, go through your rounds much quicker, as it ups the attack speed by 60%. But that's 60% faster damage going downrange. He is one of the characters that can fly, as the mech has rocket boots. He also has a shield he can put out. It only lasts for 3.5 seconds, and it only absorbs 1,000 damage, but is enough to protect your team for a short amount of time, allowing Fernando to get closer and dropping his shield to better protect, or Barrick to drop one of his shields or barriers to better protect and much easier cap the various spots. And his ultimate, Hexafire, which goes to show things can be hidden in these mechs. Not only does he have the 2 miniguns, one on his left and one on his right hand, but he also has 4 more guns on his shoulders, those being 2 more miniguns and 2 rocket launchers. This allows him to put a lot of damage downrange and is really wonderfully paired with a Fernando or a Barrett's dome shield with the flamethrower to just destroy. Or, like I said, he is one of the ones that is perfectly paired with one of the previous ones, that being Buck here. If Buck were to drop his imprisonment and Ruckus was inside, and Ruckus had his ultimate as well, that 1-2 combo, just sit there and it would destroy any enemies you're allowed to keep in there. Androxus, he is a demon of sorts. As you can see, his skin color will change with the skins. He wields a mighty pistol and is also an unlockable. Accursed Arm, it allows him to fly, and his revolver becomes much more powerful with a dragon head on the end. As you can see from the various pictures, his weapon really does resemble a dragon. sadly, it will not let me scroll to show you the weapon better, but as you can see, it kind of already looks like a dragon. Then it gets a dragon spirit, I guess you could say, that envelops the weapon. His revolver, you know, typical revolver, 6-shot and 3-round burst from the revolver. Less accurate, but this guy is perfect for your really good Twitch gamers, and not the website, as in Twitch, as in really fast movements, because he is meant for mid-range, putting 6 rounds downrange really fast and accurate. The more accurate the shots, the more easily he will destroy the enemy. Next we have Groot. Oh wait, I mean Grover. He is a burst damage, and yes, I've been on the bad side of that massive axe of his. He will destroy you fast. He is another one of the unlockables, and I would definitely get him as one of the unlockables if you like close range melee attacks. His attacks of Whirlwind, as you see, he spins around in a circle and does 2,300 damage, which is massive in this game. At the 2,300 is actually more than some characters have to even start the game. You can get burn cards in this. Burn cards, which are like LOL's items shop, except you have to replace them every time you die. But you can get the burn cards via points that you get from doing better in the match, from killing turrets, capping the spot, protecting the payload, or killing enemies. And you buy these burn cards, and you can get more health or more damage and whatnot. But yeah, that Whirlwind, that'll destroy most characters. As you see, basically he just destroys. Melee, close range, death. But isn't that what Groot does anyway? Kinessa, she is a sniper. As you saw from right there, her weapon extends, turning it into second mode. Wish there was a way to make it extend and stay that way, but it will not allow that. Her weapon in this mode here is an energy rifle that it's quick firing, while low damage but quick firing. But in sniper mode it charges up, and there's ways to make it charge up pretty fast and doing more damage, as well as getting a scope. But she is your typical sniper. Long range is where she does best. Headhunter, her ultimate, allows her shots that are above the waist, the upper half of the enemy. It does 50% more damage. She has oppressor mines, which slow the enemy. She can have, it says up to 2, but there are cards that allow her to have up to 5 at once, significantly slowing the enemies, which is perfect for a sniper. She slows the enemies. She can more easily shoot them with higher degrees of accuracy as she extended her rifle, because apparently she does that by herself. But back to Kinessa. Sniper mode, right click, pretty easy to do. It's just sniper rifle. Her energy carbine, like I was saying, pretty fast but low damage. The transporter, it allows her to teleport. That's one of her ways of getting around quick. Next we have Ying. Ying. Like I mentioned earlier, this game has some yins to your yang. She is definitely your Ying to your yang. She is a mystic. Her rapid attacks and definitely is true in her deployables. All this, there's no other way to really describe it besides the fact that she uses her mirror here, and being one unlockable, she is definitely OP. If played well, she uses the mirror to create shadow images of herself, which go forward and attack, which you can destroy pretty easily. Usually 1 or 2 hits will destroy it, but it'll damage you, and it's just another thing to distract you. She sits back, snipes you from range. Using Illusionary Rift, it'll confuse you and make you think that you're you can't hit the enemies for one, but it also makes you confused, so everybody appears red, as in everybody's an enemy. She creates illusions. Illusions, as you can see, illusions. Tons and tons of copies of herself, making life a living hell. And last but not least, Drogos. He is my favorite. He is, some would call him a dragon creature, but if you were able to see his tail, that really reveals that he is like an enlarged salamander. And that goes perfectly with the fact that he has a fire-based attack, being a rocket launcher. Yeah, Dragon Punch, I guess you could consider a salamander, a dragon of sorts, but Dragon Punch, that's his ultimate. He flies forward. It's something you have to get used to, but he has to charge up his rockets, which are on his back, and he'll fly forward and punch an enemy, literally, and straight up kills him. That's the best part about his, is a one-hit kill. Some of the other ones' ultimates are not one-hit kills. His weapon, like I said, is a rocket launcher, can fire one shot. Kind of a nasty second one. It's basically, he spits a massive spitball that flies through the air, and it'll, as he says, spit out an unstable loogie. It'll damage the enemy and make them take more damage. Thrust, he's the other one that can fly up, launches up in the air. This can be increased from the 50 feet upwards and 20 feet forwards as you level him up and get different cards. Salvo, that is a very good thing to use, especially when your enemies are crowded together. He has up to 6 shots of his rocket launcher, so you're best to reload this. It loads all 6 shots, or however many you have at that moment, and you fire them all with one click instead of having it to reload like a revolver. The damage seems to be lowered, and as it's less accurate as well, but 6 shots or 6 rockets downrange can do a good chunk of damage, especially destroying shields, barriers, domes, turrets, all those fun things, if not dislodging the enemy. This has been a quick overview, or as quick as possible, overview of Paladins on the champion side. Just giving a little explanation. It is in a hybrid closed open beta. The keys are pretty easily accessible. Many of the closed beta players here have multiple keys to give away. You can find that on their Reddit. If you like what you saw, like and subscribe. If you disliked it, dislike it. Leave a comment. But this has been your Dragon Overlord, and signing out. Have a wonderful evening.